Well, coming up on the breakdown, the federal government shuts down after lawmakers fail to reach a funding deal, what it means for workers, agencies, and what happens next. And the Chicago mayor orders an oversight of ICE as raids and protests intensify. Plus, Democrats gain ground in Texas after a special election. We have details ahead. Well, good afternoon. Today is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. We want to thank you for joining us for the breakdown, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Here are your news headlines today. Just in, 2 agents involved in Alex Pretty's fatal shooting have been identified. Those officers are veterans with Customs and Border Protection. The report says Jesus Ochoa and Ramando Gutierrez fired on 37-year-old Alex Pretty. The agents are from Texas and were assigned to Operation Metro Surge, which deployed thousands of agents in December, all to carry out the Trump administration anti-immigration crackdown. Also in Georgia, Fulton County Commissioner Marvin Arrington Jr. says that the county is filing a motion challenging the legality of the search and the seizure of sensitive election records. The lawsuit comes after the FBI and DOJ did a search in the election hub last week, seeking the records related to the 2020 presidential election. According to FBI agents, hundreds of boxes were seized. Those boxes contain ballots, ballot images, and voter rolls. Well, the House is expected to meet today after the U.S. government officially shut down. Lawmakers failed to reach an agreement to fund federal operations. The shutdown occurred following a breakdown in negotiations surrounding continued spending authority. Democratic senators refused to support a bill allowing ongoing funding for the Department of Homeland Security. The shutdown affects multiple federal agencies and services. Essential services will continue, but thousands of federal employees face furloughs or unpaid work. Speaking of shutting down, President Trump announced that the Washington's Kennedy Center will close for 2 years. Doors will close in July for renovations. It follows backlash from performers after he ousted previous leadership and added his name to the venue. The decision is subject to board approval. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order following the actions of federal agents during Operation Midway Blitz, launched by Department of Homeland Security. It targets criminal illegal immigrants. However, arrests, raids, and protests have become daily occurrences as the presence of ICE in Chicago has drastically increased. The ICE on Notice order directs members of the Chicago Police Department to investigate and document any alleged illegal activity by federal immigration agents. That evidence will then be sent to the Cook County State's Attorney's Office for prosecution. Mayor Johnson talks about the executive order.
That no matter what the vice president or the president says, there's no such thing as absolute immunity in America.
Well, Democrat Christian Menifee wins a special election in Texas, further shrinking House GOP majority. A former attorney for Houston's Harris County will take over the seat once held by Representative Sylvester Turner, who died in March. Menifee defeated former Houston City Council member Amanda Edwards, a fellow Democrat, in Saturday's runoff election. His victory means the Republicans' razor-thin House majority will shrink by one seat when Menifee is sworn into Congress. While Texas has redrawn its congressional maps for the 2026 midterms, the special election used the state's current district lines. State Representative A.J. Pittman has resigned from office and pleaded guilty to 3 felonies. It comes as Pittman was trying to fool the Oklahoma Ethics Commission with a falsified check. Under a plea deal, she will be on probation for 7 years. Pittman pleaded guilty to second-degree forgery, conspiracy to commit a felony, and violating the State Computer Crimes Act. The guilty plea came hours after she was charged in Oklahoma County District Court and days before the next legislative session begins. Her resignation was part of her plea deal. While on probation, she cannot seek state office or work for the government. She must make restitution for misuse of campaign funds and has agreed not to run for any elected position in Oklahoma for 15 years. Prosecutors say that she owes at least more than $7,000. Well, a Black family has settled their lawsuit with the city of Grand Rapids. The city has agreed to pay the family of Honesty Hodges $285,000. The family of the girl says Hodges was held at gunpoint, handcuffed, and placed in a cruiser by Grand Rapids police 9 years ago. The family says Honesty encountered mental anguish due to the ordeal. She died from complications linked to COVID-19 when she was 14. That was about 5 years ago. In 2017, when Hodges was 11, she was stopped and detained by Grand Rapids police outside her home. The girl, her mother, and another relative were headed to the store when they were confronted by police with guns drawn. Officers had been looking for a woman involved in a domestic assault. Also, 6-year-old Isaiah is autistic, and his mother says his elementary school repeatedly calls school police when he becomes disruptive. His mother, Asia Terry, says Lake Street Primary in Los Angeles is criminalizing her son's disability. She believes the repeated police calls are retaliation after she raised concerns with school officials. In a statement, the Unified School District says that student and staff safety remains its top priority. The district added that while it cannot comment on individual cases, students experiencing medical or mental health emergencies are supposed to receive individualized support and compassionate care from designated staff.
There's been an ongoing issue with the school contacting police to address Isaiah's disability-related behaviors.
And Olympic gold medalist Sha'Carri Richardson was arrested in Florida after being pulled over for driving more than 100 miles per hour on a highway near Orlando. Now, according to police, Richardson was clocked at 104 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone. Officers cited Florida's new super speeder law, which applies to drivers traveling more than 50 miles over the speed limit or exceeding 100 miles per hour. Richardson was taken into custody and charged with dangerous excessive speeding, along with failure to dim headlights, following too closely, cutting in, and failure to move over. She told the officer she was speeding because her tires were low on air. Police have released body camera footage of the stop. It marks Richardson's second arrest in less than 6 months following a domestic violence arrest last summer. Well, a substitute teacher in Las Vegas has been fired after being filmed using the N-word in class while questioning why white people are not allowed to say it. The incident happened at Centennial High School, one of the city's largest and most diverse schools, serving about 3,000 students. School data shows that more than a third of the students identify as Hispanic, 31% are white, and 19% are Black. In an email to families, the principal said that the substitute engaged in a conversation with racial implications that was not conducive to the classroom environment. The Clark County School District says the teacher is no longer employed. A new video from More Perfect Union pulls back the curtain on the soaring cost of live sports and who's really driving it. Fans are spending upwards of $60,000 to attend the Super Bowl. World Cup tickets are selling for as much as $230,000. The investigation reveals how leagues limit ticket supply. Teams partner with certain platforms, resale platforms, and billionaire owners benefit at every step, while fans are left paying the price. The video also breaks down how public tax dollars help fund stadiums, how resale fees inflate costs even further, and how teams often profit twice, once on the original ticket sale and again on the resale market. Media mogul Byron Allen and Oscar-nominated filmmaker Ava DuVernay are collaborating on a new feature film titled King vs. the United States of America. The film revisits unanswered questions surrounding the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., killed April 4th, 1968 at the Lorraine Motel. While the killing was officially blamed on James Earl Ray, Coretta Scott King and the King family rejected that conclusion. The film centers on Coretta Scott King's decades-long fight for truth, reframing the story as an ongoing quest for justice. And also, the family of actor Quentin Aaron says he suffered a spinal stroke and is thanking fans and followers for their prayers and support. He is best known for portraying NFL star Michael Oher in the Oscar-nominated 2009 film The Blind Side. In an update, his family says Aaron has opened his eyes and regained some feeling in one foot, but they say his condition remains serious. He's still on life support and may require a wheelchair if he's released from the hospital. Well, coming up on the breakdown, a troubling new report from the New York Times shows Black women are facing some of the highest unemployment rates in the country, raising urgent questions about equity, access, and who's being left behind in today's economy. We're joined by Jordan Holman, the reporter behind the story, to break down what the data reveals and why this moment matters. More coming up after the break.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
I'm Risa Colbert, and you're watching the Black Star Network.
A new report from the New York Times a troubling shift in the labor market. Black women are losing jobs at a disproportionate rate, even when they have college degrees and years of experience. Reporter Jordan Holman has been tracking these trends, finding that unemployment among Black women climbed sharply over the past year, while other groups saw far smaller changes. Her reporting highlights how mid-career Black women professionals are turning to each other for support and opportunity as traditional pathways to stable employment grow more uncertain. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us today on The Breakdown.
Thanks for having me, Brittany.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit more about this report and, how you got into it, why you found the need to write about this.
Yeah, so in 2025, I feel like I was just watching people announce getting laid off on LinkedIn, or even in group chats, people saying that they were looking for work. Most of the people that I was seeing were Black women. And when you look at the numbers, unemployment for Black women was about 5.4% in January 2025. It continued to climb throughout the year, growing to 7.8%, which is double what the unemployment rate is. So there was something there. It wasn't just anecdotes. And what I wanted to capture was, why did it feel like so many Black professional women were out of work? And what was the meaning of it? How are they processing that moment and trying to navigate that next step? A lot of it pointed back to this anti-DEI chill that has taken place in corporate America. It kind of coincides with President Trump's second term and kind of falls through there. But it wasn't just, women who were working in diversity and equity work. It was kind of this chilling effect that we were seeing throughout corporate America. So with all of that, I just want to capture and really talk to the women who lived it and how they're trying to process and move forward in the workforce.
So you're reporting, you found that 7.8% of Black women were unemployed by December of 2025. Just tell us how this compares with other groups in the workforce.
Yeah, so that 7.8% is among the highest. So in normal times, there's the unemployment rate, the total unemployment rate, and Black unemployment is usually 2 times that, which is a pretty eye-opening number. But when you look at other groups of workers, so Black men, white women, white men, it's all less than that 7.8% with Black women. And when I talk to economists about why this was, or, should I be looking at other racial groups where unemployment was as prevalent, they're like, no, this is a very unique Black women problem. Not Black people, not women, but Black women were facing these highest rates of unemployment.
And let me ask you this. You found that the biggest unemployment loss was among Black women with bachelor's degrees?
Yes. So that also stood out. So at the start of 2025, Black women with bachelor's degrees, if you had that, it was about 74% were in the workforce. So if you had a bachelor's degree and you were a Black woman, 74% were in the workforce. Within the year, that dropped 3 percentage points to 71%, showing that the layoffs were really hitting Black women with bachelor's degrees. And when you compare that to, say, white women with bachelor's degrees, that didn't even move 1 percentage point down. It was like about 0.1%. So once again, going to what the economists were saying, that this was a unique hit in unemployment to Black women.
Can you tell us what types of trends that you saw from companies themselves? Are they hiring less? Are they pulling back on diversity or both?
There's a few things happening in our job market that's particularly hitting Black women. So there are mass layoffs happening in companies, but specifically a lot of companies are getting rid of their diversity and equity and inclusion programs. And part of that is this push from the federal government saying that they don't want that. And a lot of companies are afraid that they'll be in legal trouble if they have that. But also in our job market right now, obviously every company is talking about artificial intelligence and trying to do more with less. So some people are losing jobs because of that. But when you look at the roles where Black women are losing jobs, it's a lot of human resources, it's a lot of DEI work, it's those the kind of work that you're thinking about how to build the company, who gets the new jobs, like that architect of work has really been hit hard. And some of the women that I talked to for my story, they fit within that. Or even if they weren't in human resources, they were women who were very dedicated to talking about how to make their workplaces more inclusive. And at this moment, a lot of them said they don't want to talk about that right now because it doesn't make sense to kind of like raise your hand or stick your neck out, especially in this job market where it looks like employers just want to cut.
Tell us a little bit more about some of the women that you interviewed for this piece.
Yes. So for this piece, I talked to 15 professionals that fit within that category of they have a bachelor's degree. They're not early professionals. They've been working 5, 7, 10 plus years. And the through line from all of them was that something had changed in 2025. A lot of people compared a stark contrast to 2020, 2021, when a lot of companies were making these pledges and commitments to have more inclusive workforces. That's when we started seeing this term DEI, and a lot of them got promotions, rightly so, based off of their educational and their academic performance, their professional performance, but those doors swung open for them in 2020, 2021. After the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action, that didn't just have ripple effects in academia, it also had it in corporate America. So a lot of the women said that's another moment when we saw a change, when things started, people started talking less about DEI. 2025, as the Trump administration came back, most of the women said that's when they really felt a chill, that anything that was about Black people or trying to promote equity in the workforce, those conversations either just went away or the language very much changed. And that's when you also started to see Black women unemployment tick up.
And so you went to Threads and you saw that Black women were finding community there and had moved on to WhatsApp.
Yes. So I was like, how do I capture all of these numbers, all of these feelings? And like anything in 2025, 2026, the conversations are in the group chat. And so this one woman, she had created a group chat called Black Women Rising in September 2025. And it was really in response to her getting a lot of texts from friends just saying like, can you help me find work? Can you connect me with this person? And she thought, well, I have tapped out my network. There's so many people out of work right now. What if I create a group chat where Black women can connect with one another? And so it started on WhatsApp. Within 24 hours, more than 500 people signed up. And what she took that as is that there was this yearning, there was this almost desperation, she told me, that people wanted to find community, wanted to make sure it wasn't just them going through a layoff or applying and not getting even a phone call back or email back. And that not only did that group chat become, sharing resources and LinkedIn notifications and all that kind of stuff, it became this kind of like healing community, letting others know that they were okay, that they're not going through this alone. And I saw that's the group chat I highlighted, but I, through my reporting, heard about lots of group chats where I was just trying to build that connection and just trying to do that emotional work that comes with being out of work.
This really hits home for me because it was September of 2025, I think September 3rd, when my job was eliminated. and I found myself without work. And I wish that I had that kind of community. Where can people find these communities, and what kind of support are people providing in these groups?
Yeah, so the group chat is called Black Women Rising. It's on Discord now, and please reach out to me. I'm happy to make that connection, but it's on Threads. You can find it. LinkedIn, a lot of people are messaging one another. I think one thing that really stood out to me is that in this moment where there's a lot of Black women out of work, that we're turning to one another, and even a simple endorsement on LinkedIn saying, yes, these are this person's skills, or responding to a message like, do you know anyone here? The women I talked to, they said that goes a long way, especially maybe as other racial groups aren't doing that as much for them. The other thing that really stood out is this need and this openness to imagine other ways your career could go. One woman I talked to, she said, I just thought, I would just go up and up and up. Like I got my bachelor's degree, got a job, and if I was ever out of work, I would get another job. A lot of people are thinking differently about that trajectory, turning to entrepreneurship, just taking a pause, going in a completely different direction. And I think that's also important in this moment from what I'm hearing from people, is just having this openness to imagine other things for their career right now.
Jordan Holman with the New York Times, we thank you so much for your reporting and for bringing this information onto the breakdown.
Brittany, thank you so much for having me.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
What's happening? This is your man, Motown recording artist Kim. You are watching the Black Star Network.
Deadline set for Haitian Americans. They could see their temporary protected status eliminated by February 3rd. Roland has more.
Folks, the temporary protected status for Haitians expires on Tuesday. That's right, on Tuesday, and Haitians are fighting back. Trump, of course, is all behind this decision. The temporary protected status program for Haitian immigrants will end, as I said, on February 3rd at the orders of the Department of Homeland Security, Secretary Kristi Noem, even though the U.S. State Department still lists Haiti under a level 4 do not travel advisory. According to the Trump Department of State, the travel advisory is due to kidnapping, crime, terrorist activity, and limited health care. Nana Jumfi, the executive director of the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, joins us right now. Nana, glad to have you back on the show. So walk us through this. What does this mean? What's going to happen to those Haitians who are in this country beginning on February 3rd?
So what is going to happen is they're going to have their temporary status or protective status taken away from them. And we're not talking about people that just got here yesterday. The temporary protective status for Haitians started in 2010 with the earthquake that was so massive and killed so many people that we all remember. And we've had people that have continued to be in temporary protective status since that time, not just because people forgot, but because the government of this country over and over again has looked at what is happening in Haiti, has looked at the conditions that people would have to return to, and has said no, that the conditions in Haiti are such that the people should not be forced to return. What we have happening now with this administration is, of course, with their focus on their anti-Blackness when it comes to immigration and their particular hatred for Haitians, is that they tried to stop it early. So it was supposed to end in February of this year, and they tried to stop it in August. The lawsuits were filed, the courts ruled against them, but instead of renewing, which they absolutely should, because the conditions in Haiti have gotten worse, not better, they have decided, this regime, that they're not going to renew it, that they're not going to extend it. And so, but between February 3rd and March 3rd, those that are under protective status that are Haitian either have to leave, find a way to adjust their status, or they're suddenly going to become undocumented people with all that means after so many years in this country.
This here is a summary from the federalregister.gov, and it says right here, after reviewing country conditions and consulting with appropriate U.S. government agencies, the secretary, this is ICE Barbie Kristi Noem, determined that Haiti no longer meets the conditions for the designation for temporary protected status. And it says the secretary, therefore, is newly terminating the temporary protected status designation of Haiti as required by statute. So does that mean that and it says right here, the time right here, it says right here, the designation is terminated effective at 11:59 p.m. local time on February 3rd. Does that mean that, let's say the next day, February 4th, that ICE can literally grab Haitians and begin to deport them?
That is what they will do. I mean, people do have the capacity to try to adjust their status. Some are in the process of doing that now. Some, because it's so difficult to adjust your status, like it's so restrictive, are not going to be able to do that. And yes, we expect that this regime will send out the body snatchers. We know that there are certain parts of this country where they are great concentrations of Haitians. They're all over the country, but particularly Miami, right, in Florida. Areas in New York City and New York, in Boston, right? So we know that there are certain places where we have higher concentrations, and we can expect that in those places, the body snatchers, which include ICE, federal agents, and the mass mercenaries, are going to be hitting Haitian neighborhoods and are going to be grabbing folks, regardless of their status, actually, in using this ending of temporary protected status as the excuse. It's very disturbing.
This is from a media outlet in Ohio. First of all, it says some 330,000 Haitians live in the United States. About 30,000 here live in Ohio. And it says, and then, of course, 12,000 to 15,000 live in Springfield. This individual with the Haitian Support Center in Springfield said folks there are fearful. They came here just to work and send their kids to school and be here peacefully. All of a sudden, they find themselves in another scenario where they're not accepted. They are panicked, and the worst thing is that they can't even plan their lives for 3 months down the road. And so also it says that if they have a pending asylum application, they have the right to apply for work authorization and to not be removed while they're waiting for the application to be pending.
That latter part is true, but we just have to remember that this regime doesn't care. I mean, yes, we're talking about what the rules are, right, Martin? But we already know, Roland, we already know that is not how this regime operates. And so with Baji, there's a couple of things that we're looking at. Number one is to make sure that people are clear about what their rights are, about what they may be able to do to adjust. And of course, if they're putting in asylum claims or other ways to adjust, wonderful. We also understand, though, that we need some permanent solutions. And, there are people that are throwing down in the courts, which is fabulous, and we'll see how that goes. There are people that are begging the administration and doing sign-on letters to, dear President Trump regime letters, and that's wonderful. And we know that there's some people that need to do that. Like, everyone's got to get in their lane. That, that's not a Baji thing, but I understand that that's a thing that some people, they're desperate and they're trying to make it happen. And then there's other folks, such as Baji, that are saying we really need permanent protections. If you recall, there was a lot of work done to get a permanent pathway for Liberians, the Liberian Refugee Immigration Fairness Act, which did produce a pathway for those Liberians who had temporary protective status and deferred entry of departure, which allowed them to be able to get on a permanent protection stance. And we think that should happen for Haitians, that they too deserve a pathway. We think everyone deserves a pathway, but particularly with so many hundreds of thousands of Haitians whose lives hang in the balance, there should be something that Congress is doing, because we know the regime ain't going to do nothing.
I'm gonna go before I go to questions. Also from this particular piece here, and this is the issue: the temporary status ends February 3rd, and Governor Mike DeWine expects ICE to have a 30-day surge in Springfield on February 4th. That means that they are going to be hunting Haitians.
Absolutely. That is what they're going to be doing. I mean, they're already doing some of that now, even before the time period, right? They already are going into Haitian neighborhoods. They already are going by Haitian restaurants. They already are making it clear that, hey, we coming. And so it's really going to be important that the same energy that people are expressing right now, and the same way that they're closing ranks and trying to protect folks in neighborhoods across this country, that same energy exists for the Haitians, right? Because we see how so much of these invasions that have started talking about Black people and targeting Black people, as they did in Minneapolis, right? They went there allegedly targeting Somalis for this fake story of fraud. But at the end of the day, who are we talking about with Minneapolis? Are we talking about Somalis anymore? Are we talking about Black immigrants anymore? No, we're not. And we don't want that to continue. We need to make sure that we, at least in terms of our community, keep lifting up that Black immigrants are the ones that are disproportionately targeted. We are the ones that are being disproportionately detained. And the story can't shift off of us when other people start to become harmed.
Questions from the panel. Greg, you first.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you, Sister Nana. It's good to see you again. We saw what the Ninth Circuit did yesterday by saying that Nome and these fools, what they did with the Venezuelans and the Haitians was illegal. Of course, it didn't help the Venezuelans. But any updates on, I guess, we're expecting a ruling any day now here in D.C. with the federal judge as it relates to TPS for the Haitians?
Yeah, people are hoping so. That is the prayer that people have right now. I'm serious when I say that people are in really desperate energy. You know, when you think about it, you've been living here, you have family here, you're working here, you have community here, you have a house, you have apartment, you know, all can just be gone just like that. All of a sudden, your whole life can become different. Your whole life can shift. And so people are really hopeful. Kudos to those organizations that have filed these lawsuits and are really working to try to use the courts as much as possible. But we also understand that that in itself is a process, right? We've seen this before. The last Trump administration, legal action was able to stop things for the entire time of the administration. And when the Biden administration came in, we were able to keep people here. This time, we've seen that they've played it differently, right? They've learned from the last time they were in power. And so they're going to fast track it. If it's something that comes out in our favor, they're going to fast track it to try to get it to the Supreme Court, or at least get it to a place where they can get a ruling in their favor. Of course, we know that, so people are getting ready for that. The best way that we're going to be able to handle this is to prepare people to keep us safe as much as possible, while we really press on our congressional friends to say, hey, what can we do here to get this permanent protection that folks need? Looking up every 12 months, praying that your protective status continues, that you pay for, mind you. You pay for the application, and whether you get it or not, you still end up having to pay for it. They don't give you your money back. Doing that every 18 months is just ridiculous anyway. It's not a way to live. None of us that are talking right now would want to have to figure out, am I still going to be able to have my job, my house, everything that I have as my stability every 18 months, depending upon the whim of whoever's in the White House.
Well, coming up tonight on the Black Star Network, join us for Not on Our Watch, a national town hall on press freedom hosted by the National Association of Black Journalists in partnership with the Black Star Network. We will stream the event live from 6 to 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Again, it's right here on the Black Star Network. Coming up on the breakdown, for too many families, learning music is a luxury instead of a right. But one community-driven program is changing that by putting real instruments into real homes. So after the break, we'll talk with the founder and educator Kaya Barker, about turning pain into purpose and why access matters, and how music can help people of all ages discover their voice. Stay with us.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are
Courtney wants to come straight out to the side
as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields
go straight to the side.
We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Bria Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
For far too many families, access to music education is still shaped by zip code and income, not talent or passion. But organizations like Piano for All are working to change that by putting instruments and instruction directly into the hands of the community, even giving away free pianos to families who otherwise would never have one in their homes. The program was launched in the wake of the killing of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, out of a desire to respond to pain and unrest with healing, creativity, and opportunity. At its core is the belief that music is more than a skill. It builds confidence, discipline, expression, and hope. Through lessons in outreach and neighborhood partnerships, the organization is helping children and adults alike discover their voice and their potential through music. So joining us now is the founder, Kaya Barker, who leads this work to expand music access in communities too often left out of the conversation. Kaya, welcome to The Breakdown.
Hi, how are you, Brittany?
I am well, and I'm so grateful to have you on the show today. I want you to tell me a little bit more about your background and how you even got into this work.
All right. Well, for me, I started out playing piano as a kid, and I just always gravitated toward it, loved it. My first piano lessons, I think I took at Ludwig Aeolian, and then from there, I remember my parents got me into CASA, Conservatory School of the Arts, here in St. Louis, Missouri. At the time, they were located on Washington, and that was a wonderful experience for me. I had a wonderful teacher named Mr. Kesterer, Carl Kesterer. I have to shout him out. He's still around, and that was he really turned me on to classical music and stuff like that. So that's where that began, and then later I came back to it in my life because I got rebellious like all teenagers do, because my parents made me play for everybody. And I started, rebelling. It's like, okay, I got to do this all the time. But nonetheless, it's always been my passion. And I came back to the piano, of course, at church, Greater Leonard, where we both grew up.
That is correct.
Yeah. And I played there for a long time. So that really got me back into playing, because I always loved gospel music and things like that. And from there, I just played for church. I wasn't teaching any piano or any music. I never really thought about it. I was always interested in performing and things like that. But this opportunity came much later down the career path. I mean, I had been in corporate, worked for GMAC, worked for Bungie, and then I had some health challenges that made me step away from, working. I was on family leave back, and I happened to see while I was out this woman teaching a group of kids piano classes, and I thought, I just had this epiphany. I said, I'm doing that. Wow. That's me. That's what I should be doing, because that's what I'm passionate about. I just hadn't seen a way to do it, and I saw this group I'm like, I can teach a whole group of kids at one time. So since I needed control over my own schedule, I started my business so that I could try to get well and also have control over my schedule. And in 2001, I started my own piano school, music school, actually, called New Horizon School of Music. And I had that for 9 years. I was in the Florissant area. 2008 comes around, the housing crisis hits, everybody's tightening up. I'm barely covering my overhead at this point because people are dropping, they need to save money. And so I went into teaching at Riverview School District for like 7 years. And I thought I wanted to be get certified as a teacher, as a music teacher, but I just I didn't like the lack of support for the arts in the public, school arena. And this opportunity came up that someone was looking for someone to start a school for them, a music school, a piano school specifically. Pianos for People was already operational for just giving and known for just giving away pianos. But because they were giving them away, people wanted to learn how to play them. And that's where I took my vision and came to them and presented what I had done for myself with my own school, which over the course of the years, I think about 8 or 9 years, I've serviced probably over 400 kids, Incredible. Yeah, really. And with the camps, probably 800 or something like that. But at the time I had piano, drums, guitar, and voice. So I offered all those when I had my own school. At Pianos for People, we are strictly piano. Now we have incorporated some other things, but I basically, like I said, I took my vision, presented, they gave me carte blanche to build it. We have expanded. I started the school in 2014 for them. We had a second location added in Ferguson in 2016, and that was directly behind all of the chaos and things that happened in Ferguson. We knew that that area needed some positivity and some healing, so we were inspired to start a school in Ferguson to bring something positive to the community, and that's a very successful location over there. It's probably as big as our main location, which is Cherokee on the south side. There's around 230 to 240 kids and adults in our program. So our program gives away free pianos, free piano lessons, and it's been a wonderful ride. It's been the best work I've had because I love it. I'm passionate about it. And I get to be on the front line and see some wonderful things happen in young people's lives because they learn they can do something that they didn't necessarily think they could, or either they came and we helped them just level up to the next level and they took off. So it's been an awesome experience.
Now tell us why access to music education is so critical for our community.
It is very critical. First of all, music is something that belongs to everybody. It shouldn't just be segregated or dollars pooled into a school district simply because, you know, of race or things like that. We are all born with some type of love for music, whether we are able to play and create or just listen and enjoy. It's a part of our lives. And there is a lot of evidence-based research that says that music goes hand in hand with academic progress. There's a lot of research that says that students who study music, who take and learn instruments, have a better academic outcome. There's something about that left brain, right brain there that engages them. So it should be a part of everyone's curriculum, and it shouldn't be something that's only allotted to certain few. Our mission is to break down those barriers to access. So we remove the cost factor. You can get not only a free piano, which is not cheap. I mean, we give away quality pianos, we also give quality lessons. Yeah, so it's very important to have those creative outlets.
Could you tell us a little bit more about, you know, what it means for a family to suddenly have an instrument in their home?
I can, so many stories. One of our students right now, a little girl named Ava, her mom was really ill and she had battled cancer, but getting a piano really gave her something to focus on. And, you know, it gave her mother something to encourage her about while she was dealing with that. We've had people that are homeless in our program, and the one constant they had was to be able to come and get their lessons weekly. We've seen some kids, one of our success stories, Royce Martin, he goes by Royce the Piano Man Martin. He came to our school, and Royce is what you would call a prodigy. But because of his relationship with Pianos for People, we were able to help him not only get a piano, but he also got master teaching. He ended up getting to Berklee School of Music, Berklee College of Music, graduated from there, and he's had some commercial success. I know he did something with the reboot of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Wow.
So music of his was sampled. Somehow Will Smith heard it and wanted to use it. And he's also done some music that's been featured in one HBO documentary, and he's doing other wonderful things. He has a really cool spin on ragtime called Rag Bop. So it's almost like Scott Joplin hand chose this young man to carry on the legacy of ragtime, and he does a wonderful job. And we have so many other successful stories, students that didn't realize that music could be a way for them to have a career path. So it's important. Or either just discovering something about themselves, you know?
And building confidence as well.
Building the confidence, and we meet them where they are. We don't expect every student in there. We don't expect any student to, you know, be a world-class pianist, but we know we're going to run across some that have that ability, and we want to help nurture and foster and carry them as far as they can go. We have a young man right now that's coming up, and I say he's one to watch out. His name is Denham. He is also a protege of Stéphane Deneuve of the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. And this young man, you know, between the St. Louis Symphony and our community, we have our arms around him, helping nurture his musical talent. And he is just taking off. And I know there are so many other stories like that. So.
Kaya Barker with Piano for All in St. Louis, Missouri.
Piano for People.
For the work you're doing, and thanks for joining us on The Breakdown.
I got to tell you, it's Pianos for People, but it is for all. Pianos for all
Pianos
people.
for people. Thank you so
Let
much.
me make sure they can see my shirt. Look us up on the internet. We have a really cool website, pianosforpeople.org, and we're only in St. Louis. Check us out. And I thank you, Brittany, for having us on and letting me talk about the organization.
Absolutely. Thank you for the work that you're doing in the community. Well, did you catch the Grammys last night? We'll break it all down after the break with Brandon Pope. Also, do you know someone in your community who deserves the Noble Spotlight? We would love to know your noble thoughts. Please reach out to us. We'll be right back.
Hey y'all, welcome to the Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Bria Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to the Other Side of Change.
Violent white supremacy is, quote, the most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland.
The greatest terrorist threat to the homeland is the homegrown violence stream, including hate crime committed on behalf of some kind of white supremacist ideology.
They are coming after everything in Black America. MAGA and Donald Trump are specifically targeting Black America. They are going after the money. Attack Black Lives Matter. Attack critical race theory, attack woke, DEI. MAGA wants to defund Black America. This is a perfect example of their desire to completely degrade and de-emphasize Black people.
Hi, I'm Swing Cash, Basketball Hall of Famer, and you're watching Black Star Network.
Welcome back. Last night was big. Stars came decked out in style, all to pick up their Grammy Awards for their accomplishments. Joining us now is Brandon Pope, an Emmy Award-winning journalist, TV host, podcaster, media critic, and columnist, joining us for the breakdown. Brandon, welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Brittany? Good to see you.
It's great to see you too. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's get right into the Grammys. That was history made. And there were some things that happened that stirred a lot of controversy. So let's get right into it. For you, what was the biggest moment of the night?
I mean, I'm a big hip hop fan. You know this. I love me some Kendrick Lamar and K-Dot. Man, the legacy continues to build. He officially is now the most awarded, Grammy awarded rapper in Grammys history. He has surpassed Jay-Z for most Grammys all time by a rapper. He won Record of the Year in Melodic Rap Performance for Luther, that really great song with SZA. He also won Best Rap Song and Rap Album for GNX. Just goes to show, ever since this man started his battle with Drake, we all saw the back and forth of the beef. The whole stance he had was, I'm the best in the game, and he's reaffirmed it over and over and over with these hardware wins. So big, gigantic wins for Kendrick Lamar there, but also rap overall. The Clips winning for best rap performance as well for So Help Me God. I mean, what an incredible night for them. Their first real Grammy recognition. You would think, with the Clips, they've been around for so long, Pusha T and Malice. Their album was so incredible. The songs so good. It's just great to see them finally get some shine on that level as well.
Now, despite many fans hoping for Leon Thomas to win Best New Artist, the award ultimately went to one of my favorites, Olivia Dean. What are your thoughts?
Wow, Olivia Dean, she definitely is incredible. Best New Artist is always one of those weird categories, right? Because there be some artists on there, like a Leon Thomas, who are new to who. For me, I've heard Leon Thomas for about a decade now. You may remember him from the show Victorious on Nickelodeon with Ariana Grande. So if you're a big Nickelodeon fan, us millennials, we go way back with Leon Thomas, right? However, Olivia Dean is just so special. The Man I Need, what a great song. The album front to back, just really good. The type of stuff, somebody said it's the stuff you listen to in a mall or at a shopping center. And they meant it as a diss, but I'm like, hey, we need those songs. Who doesn't want to hear some bops in the grocery store and marketplace? And hey, Leon Thomas, he didn't go empty-handed, right? He ended up winning Best R&B Album and Best Traditional R&B Performance, so still got some much-deserved hardware there for himself. Leon Thomas, a star in his own right, but hey, The Man I Need, Olivia Dean, come on now. She definitely delivered.
She sure did. All right, so let's switch gears here a little bit. For the first time since 1999, we saw Lauryn Hill on the Grammy stage.
Wow, and wasn't that special? On time. Could you believe it? On time this time. But of course, she gonna be on time to big ups her man, her friend, her confidant, D'Angelo, in a moving, stirring tribute to both him and Roberta Flack. I'll tell you what, Brittany, I don't want to be hyperbolic here, but this to me was the best tribute I've seen in quite some years. And Lauryn Hill, she is still so spellbinding. Her voice so magnetic. She takes that time. She gets the incense burning, and she was locked in. And what I love about this tribute the most, it was so intentional in how it was put together, right? From having Anthony Hamilton, who did background singing for D'Angelo, doing background singing here, to honor his dearly departed friend. I mean, what a great choice there. Every single artist picked with intention here, and really just an outstanding way to pay tribute to one of the best R&B artists we've ever seen.
You want to talk a little bit about Bad Bunny using the spotlight to deliver that powerful speech, criticizing ICE for its harmful conduct, urging for a more humane approach?
Well, look, Bad Bunny, he is not shy about where he leans at a very tough time for his community, for Latinos across America, using his platform to speak out and say, hey, I'm not cool with this at all. And really saying, hey, immigrants are people too. We are not savages. We're not what we're painted out to be by this administration and those who are fans of this White House administration. Really a powerful statement in a night where you had some artists as well make some statements, but also some artists that did not and who selectively chose to stay silent. It comes as we're having a lot of conversations about artists' roles right now when it comes to what's happening in our government, what's happening in our democracy. What role do they properly play? Usually the role of an artist, one of the biggest roles of an artist, is to really put a light on these type of issues, right? Well, Bad Bunny using his platform to do just that. At the same time, making history. He won Grammy of the Year. This is the first time a fully all Spanish album won Album of the Year at the Grammys. Pretty incredible feat. And guess what? He gets to celebrate it all at the Super Bowl this Sunday. You know it's going to be a party. He's on my workout playlist, so I'll be jamming all throughout the week for sure.
Anything else that maybe we should take away from the Grammys last night?
Well, look, Black History Month is here, and Black people won across the board. Over 20 Grammy wins. You name it, from CeCe Winans with Shirley Caesar on the gospel side, PJ Morton on the gospel side as well. FKA Twigs winning for Best Electronic and Dance. Buddy Guy, who we saw get recognized for his role in the movie Sinners, a legendary blues artist, winning his 9th Grammy for a blues album. Just amazing to see our people once again showing out throughout. Kehlani getting her first major Grammys, right, for Folded, a song that's been everywhere, plus its numerous remixes across the board. It just goes to show our people, we can't be outdone, right? We are the blueprint, we are the map, and we run the culture. And on music's biggest night, Black people won big.
I love that. Brandon Pope, thank you so much for coming onto the breakdown today. And we hope that you'll join us again very soon.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'll catch you later.
Yes, for sure. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us today for the breakdown. Remember, we are having a special town hall tonight. It will be streamed on the Black Star Network. It begins at 6:00 p.m. Eastern. It will go until 8:00 p.m. It will be hosted by Roland Martin. And of course, you can go back to our website for news headlines 24 hours a day. That's the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Brittany Noble, and we'll be back again tomorrow for the breakdown.